And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. We are your humble host Brandon, and I got my man Honey Brand. Set it off, Chris with me. So
What's up?
we we finally here, Chris. We finally here. It feels like football is in the air again, Chris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's upon us, man, and you know, we going through the ceremonial. People getting there. You get your
Mm-hmm.
first few days on with just helmets, running around, moving little things. Had a little casualty in the midst of that. We're gonna talk
Oh
about
my
that a little
goodness.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of flips up some things that we wanted to do, but I got a little more faith in the DC than I had from the last guy who was in charge. So there's still
We can
hope
say
there.
sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that. But man, here's the day that everybody loves. First day in pads, man.
There we
First
go.
day when you're in pads, we start click clacking. Everybody got all that yap until we start putting them pads on and start doing our thing, man. So
Yes, sir.
big day, man.
Mm-hmm.
Big day. Where you want to start at, B?
So you let's start with the bad news first. Let's get the bad news out of the way.
Okay.
Right. Injuries are a part of football.
Absolutely.
Football as a career has a 100% injury rate. I don't think that there's a single player who made it out without saying ouch at least once. Right?
Yeah, okay. I give you that.
So with that being said, Sam Williams, our edge rusher, he ended up, getting one of those catastrophic injuries. ACL and MCL tear, per Pat Walker. Very reliable source within the building. So Sam was going to be a guy where Dorrance Armstrong took up 41% of snaps. Sam was going to be a guy who had, a bevy of opportunity now that Dorrance is gone. And, that kind of gets taken away from him this year.
Right. Third-year player, huge chance for an upside. And like you said, having Dorrance out of the building as well as Dante Fowler out of the building, it was going to be a clear path for him to get major snaps. So, and we really needed him to take that uptick because, one, he's in the third year. And so we were definitely looking for that. More importantly, man, it's just, when you do your ACL and your MCL, it's one of those things where it's a long road back for him.
Yeah.
And so, we just wishing them, but speedy recovery, blessings, and things of that nature for him and his family as he goes forward. But as for the team, because in any organization, I'm a long time Navy vet. One thing we always said, when one person leaves, we close ranks and we got to move forward.
Yes,
that puts a lot of pressure on the young Marshawn Nealon, to play over and above what we were wanting him to. So we kind of want the transition with your rookies, to have the ability to come in, learn, understand it's a bigger game, a little bit faster, different things of that nature, work on technique, and have that ability not to have it all thrust on him that if he's great, good, but he can work through those bumps and bruises. Now you're asking him to take a full load on, and that's a lot for him. So we were talking, earlier this week, talking about like who was out there. I know you probably put some thought to it. But Ndege Agakwe, he's out there.
Yes, he is.
And that's a guy. I think you bring him in, and you don't need him to be, his 100% self, but you could use him if he's at a 75% rate. Understands Zim's defense, but also gives the ability to let us play Nealon, and get him, those much needed reps as a rookie. That's definitely what we want to be able to have.
Absolutely, man. So I feel like this either can open up the door for a guy who may have been on that bubble, or it can open up the door for an outside free agent. I feel like it can go one of two ways, honestly. And really that depends on how well Marshawn Nealon adapts to this change, because we may not have needed him to be his absolute best self in his rookie year with Sam Williams there, but now that Williams is not going to be playing, this is going to be a situation where there's going to be more required of him.
Oh yeah, I mean, out the gate, you're going to need him to where the ramp up would be, hey, you get a little bit, let's say you get, the 3 preseason games, and then you come into the season and you get 10 snaps, game 1 against the Browns, and then we up it up to 15, and ease him into, it's going to be out the gate, man. He may get 25, 30 snaps at that, defensive end. And now he's going to go out there against some of the best guards and tackles that he's ever played against in his life. And so he's going to have to learn. It's going to be a huge step up from where he was at. So that was the advantage of having Sam being in his 3rd year, couple years of the offseason workouts and peanut butter, and being a full-time professional, that, Marshawn Kneeland is going to end up having to, get, boosted into out the gate. But this is the one thing as much as we despise how the Jones moves and operates, this is kind of their season where they'll hopefully go get a guy who's not too far over the hill, still got some gas in his tank, and they know he needs them just as much as they need him. You know what I'm saying? The need is on both sides, because they at home without a job and they're ready to come in and go to work. So, they love having a little bit of leverage on a cat. So, just hoping that they make that Will McClay and the staff and the pro staff personnel make a decision quickly, move and get the guy get a guy in camp that can help us. But that was the bad news.
Now, not too much long after that, I saw Carl Lawson, there we go, tweet out just a little star emoji, so maybe he just, got the news and said, okay, hey, hey guys, I'm right here,
Yeah, I mean, it's always to the point when it comes to the Cowboys, until they say something, I don't get excited about any free agent, anybody doing anything. You remember that time they were like Dalvin Cook was coming? We was all gassed. We were gassed up. We were all like, doing Dalvin Cook breakdowns, how he could be, a complimentary piece. And I don't, guys use social media and things of that nature to get into the fans' heads and get us thinking, okay, this is a move they're making. And then he turns around and he goes somewhere else. So, I just want to watch the dominoes fall in place. Carl Lawson will be a really good addition. I like Ngakoue a little bit better. But it doesn't matter. I still got to bring a body in, because above all else, I have no more depth. That was the one thing we were always worried about with this team, not having enough depth to make it through this long, arduous season. So that was a huge loss for us. But
absolutely.
On a brighter note, seeing the first couple of days that the fact of the matter that our best room on the defensive side, the linebackers were all over the place, as well as I think the one thing that helped me, or was satisfying to me, to know that even with Sam Williams going down, Mike Zimmer was going to still use Mike as a chess piece, and that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And like you said, that there is a lot more good news as well, because we did get the news today that Trevon Diggs passed his physical and he's off of the PUP list. How do you feel about that, Chris?
I mean, I love the fact that Trayvon's back. We've said in videos before, I've said it out loud several times. MCLs and ACLs, knee injuries are not like of the way of the past, where many players end up blowing them out. Some of them never came back. For me as a kid, Kellen Winslow blew his knee out, and Kellen Winslow Sr. blew his knee out and never came back. Probably one of the most dynamic tight ends that I ever saw in my life. But modern science has made it to the point guys can get back. But we also know the body has to get comfortable and start becoming who they are. Only one guy we all know, had adamantium in his body, and he came back within 12 months like nothing ever happened.
Absolutely. Talking about Adrian Peterson.
Absolutely. The great Adrian Peterson. And so now I think you start seeing more of what I've been saying to be true, as we see Terrence Steele playing now in training camp, as we saw some of the clips and pads today, and he started looking like, Terrence Steele again. as last year.
And we gonna talk about this up until he saw Michael, but you know.
But that stop because listen, Micah's making everybody look like that. As long as he can hang in there.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, not necessarily.
No, that's one rep.
He didn't make everybody look like that.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later. But being that, you know, he's coming back, I would want to. I've always said this. I want to ease him back slowly. Okay, he's playing. He's off the pup list. We bring him back. He starts making some different things work, and then we ease him into it. So that's where on the side of the ball in the defensive back room, we've got a little bit of depth. We got a little bit of depth.
Yes.
So if I wanted to, I can bring him back slowly to get him by mid-season back up to full speed. But I still have some depth. I've got the young, Kalen Clarkson, defensive back out of Wake Forest, showing signs of improvement. I love his Twitter moniker. Walk his strap. I like that. I love that about him. That his confidence is in full bloom. So I love the direction he's going. Deron Bland is showing you he's not just a one-trick pony or one-year wonder. He is definitely a bona fide All-Pro. You've got the steady Jordan Lewis, able to be that one of those guys. And you got some of the younger guys, guys who you were high about last year, Eric Scott, things of that nature. So it gives us the ability to, even though we wanted to hold out hope to bring Gilly back, I think we got enough depth in the secondary room that we can be okay.
Would you still consider bringing Gilmore back?
If I bring Gilmore back, right, and I'm saying football-wise and knowledge-wise, I'd love to bring him back. My problem is always about progress stoppers, right? Because if I bring Gilly back, if I bring Gilly back, right? So if I bring Gilly back, veteran, he's going to want to play. His whole contract is going to be incentive laden. That's going to be by snaps. So if that means he's going to do that, then that means I've got to keep Carson off the field. You see what I'm saying? Because he's going to have incentives built into his contract. So he slows down my progress of young Carson because he's not going to get on the field. So as much as I want him back because I know he adds veteran depth, I'm willing to take the bumps and bruises and learn with Kalen, and then as Diggs gets up to speed, and pray that nothing else happens.
So let me ask you this question then.
Go ahead.
Because now we got to look at where we're ordering guys. Your two boundary guys and your slot guy. Would you rather have Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland as your boundary guys, and then you figure out your slot guy, or would you rather have Trevon Diggs as your outside guy, Deron Bland as your slot guy, and then try to figure out who your other boundary guy will be?
For me, I love, and I've said this too, we've talked about this before, I love Deron Bland in the slot. He was, it was reported by, the great Brian Broaddus when he was on the We Okay show with Voch Lombardi earlier this week, man, is that, Deron Bland never played outside, played in the slot, until he came to Dallas. He was always an outside corner. So he was able to transition rather quickly from an outside guy into a slot guy. And even when he went back outside, he was able to go ahead and play, be productive in that nature. So me personally, I want, Trevon Diggs, Kalen Clarkson on the outside as a rookie, because you're going to learn out there and being underneath Zimmer's tutelage, because that's what he is. Above all things else, he's a DC, but Zimmer's a defensive back coach. That's what he excels at. So I think he can work with him, and I can keep Bland inside, chasing the most productive receivers. Because the game has changed so much, offensive coordinators are looking for mismatches. So they're not going to go out there and put him against a premium athlete on the outside. You're not going to put him out there on Trevon Diggs, 35, 45 snaps a game. You're trying to find a mismatch. So you want to either put him on a linebacker or a civilian, an inferior third corner inside. Well, in our situation, Deron Bland being an all-pro playing in the slot, falls into our hand and the advantage Cowboys if I have him as a slot. So for me, it's Diggs on the outside, Carson on the outside, Deron Bland inside.
Okay. And you know what? I can dig it. Just because that's what camp is for. Camp is for figuring out all of this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So now that we've kind of gotten, the ugly news and the good news out of the way, I watched a lot of clips of film today.
Okay.
Because it was our first padded practice. And while I'm adjusting here, because I only got one monitor now, I'm still, doing things in this new room. I don't have a second monitor anymore.
I understand.
But while I'm doing that, I was able to get a lot of notes. Got a whole lot of notes today, Chris. Got a whole lot of notes.
Oh man, you was at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's kind of start in the area where I think there was already a lot of concern. Get more of the ugly news out of the way first. Rico Dowdle is probably right now the best running back of the bunch, and that's kind of all there is about it. It may not even be close, because I think that Rico's always been a decent running back. He's always been a pretty good running back, but health is always a concern with him.
Okay.
But I saw a few snaps of Zeke Elliott today, and Chris, it didn't look good. It didn't look good, Chris. Zeke, now everybody looks slow compared to Micah Parsons, right? But Zeke just looked like he was running through mud.
I don't know what you want from me on this Zeke thing. I mean, listen.
Mm-hmm.
We will always salute and thank Zeke Elliott for his years of service. His 2016 to 2018, 2019 run was probably one of the 4 best years in a stretch for Dallas Cowboy running back. He was Mr. Everything. Yeah, he was Mr. Everything. But he's moving up on his 8th year in his career, and he looks like a guy who's exactly what Stephen Jones said he was going to do when he drafted him on draft day. You can go back and see. Stephen said the goal was to draft him, run him into the ground, and then go draft another running back.
Now it seems like they didn't necessarily get to.
They did what they were supposed to do. They got him here. They already owed him money. We've talked about this before. They already owed him $6 million on the cap.
I'll go ahead and share this while you got this going.
Yeah, I mean,
so, you can see Zeke over here. Everybody looks slow compared to Micah Parsons, Chris.
I mean, Micah.
Everybody looks slow compared to Micah Parsons.
Right, but it doesn't look as if he has the burst, that getaway. He gets swallowed up in the mass of humanity, and so now you're looking at like, hey, we got a guy that we can't run this offense. And my thing is, you've got to have a collection of running backs to keep it to the point that we don't fall back into the habit of rain being the best thing that we do. Like I said, and so I need a running game to help balance this thing. I need Rain to be able to hand the football off and let me get 3.5, let me get 4, let me get a pop for 7. I got to be able to get the guys, the linebackers, to take a half a tick, and if I do that, Rain can cause chaos. So if Rico Dotto is going to be running back, majority of the running back getting the carries inside of this rotation, so be it. And we'll ceremoniously bring 15 on, let him be the goal line back, let him be the heavy.
That is where I think he can excel. I think that he can still excel in the goal line because he is not a small guy. And he knows how to push his way through, but you can't really depend on him to get you burst.
No, I listen, I need him, chipping, reliable hands, a guy in the 4-minute offense that I can count on to get me, a 4-yard gain, hopefully a 5-yard gain, 3.5 yard gain. That's what I need. But I know he doesn't have home run capability. And it is what it is. That's my feeling.
It is what it is. Now one thing you did mention is getting Zeke back in the receiving game. I think that that could be the case because Sunday and today Zeke was on the jug machine quite a bit for both days.
Okay.
So I want to
Okay.
know if he is possibly going to be looked at more. Getting the ball on like a wheel route or something like that.
I
Maybe
mean,
in the
but that's
backfield. Who knows?
I mean, but that was one of his, claim to fames, coming in 16 and 18. The 16 he had a 80, he had an 85-yard touchdown run off a screen.
Mm-hmm.
He had another one that next year against the 49ers was wrong. So he has always been able to catch the football out of the backfield. John said, chatting with us, thanks for rocking with us, bro, so late in the evening, but, chiming in. My thing with him is he is not that guy anymore. So if I can get him on some sparingly, I need that rotation to give me about 30 to 35 effective carries. And so if I can get 7 to 12 carries from Zeke per game, getting around his average, that's going to win us some money in Vegas, about 45, 50 yards a game.
Yeah.
To get to that 500, 35, 40 yards a game, so be it, man. That's what I expect from him.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I was actually surprised to see Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman had a couple of solid reps with the twos today. I didn't see him get any with the ones. But I think Royce might be in a better place than Zeke right now. Just because Zeke's body has taken so much abuse, pause, in his years here, and to a lesser extent in New England for that year.
Yeah, I mean, right. He's a shell of what we expect to see him when he was with last time we saw him really be himself in 18 and 19. Yeah. But Royce has an opportunity. I really want to see what Nathaniel Pete did. And see.
I did not see a single rep from him today.
So that's the thing about it.
Not in teams anyway. Not in teams.
Right. So but it's only day one, so we'll hopefully, hopefully get some.
Absolutely. And we still got. There's football this Thursday.
Hey, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's dope. But that's dope. Another class in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, we'll be able to see that. But I want to see. Biggest thing for me is more in the pads, and when the Rams come in for the team practice, I definitely want to see how that works out.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
That's where I look at it.
It'll be a little bit less friendly, when guys are padded up, and against their own teammates, they'll just slap them as they walk by, and things like that. No, guys are going to be able to get knocked around a little bit, during practices. So yes, I'm definitely excited for that.
Okay. What's your next thing?
Now, here's another thing. Tyler Guyton. We might have one, Chris. We might got one, Coach. I saw at least 4 reps of Tyler against Micah. Tyler won 3 of them. And the fourth one, if the quarterback gets the ball out fast enough, whew.
Okay.
So I think that if he is able to transition from the right side to the left, because he still protected the blind side. His quarterback was a lefty.
Right.
If he makes that transition, man, we got one, because Tyler's frame, he's 6'7", ridiculously long arms.
Right.
That in itself gives him just an advantage by default. It's almost like a cheat code.
Okay.
So guys have to come with, good speed and power, because if he gets those mitts on you, I mean, A, you're not going to be able to get your mitts on him in order to disengage, and B, he's huge. He's huge.
He's a big man. He's an athlete. He's got really, really good footwork.
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and give a shout out once again to the great Duke Merriweather.
Oh man. Yes.
I know we make a lot of references on here to our main man Vach, man. And we're to the point, man, where it's like draft anybody that's got talent and size and tools, send him to Duke immediately, and we know Duke is going to turn around and give us back a product that can be able to learn and sustain themselves in the league. we all had a huge question mark on the now all pro left guard Tyler Smith coming in. Okay, he had problems. We figured, okay, he had done a miracle job with Terrence Steele, getting Terrence to be who he is, before the injury.
And don't mind me, I'm just playing some reps.
So
while
I think
while you're speaking, let me go ahead and mute that.
So I'm just looking at the fact, you see here, man, this is a big man. He's able to move. He's working against the absolute, monster in Micah Parsons. And that's what you want to see your guy unafraid and going forward. So listen, first day in pads, he had a really good day. He's going to have to get his stamina up and things of that nature, but he's making the moves.
I mean, because he's a big guy. He's a big guy. That's a ridiculously large frame, so it takes a lot of energy to move that around. You know what I'm saying?
Big man moving around, making a lot of moves. So you want to be able to do that. The one thing that you just love seeing more than anything, I love seeing Chuma Edoga over there with the trainers, because that's where I think he does his best work. And Tyler's just
matter of fact, I'll wait until you finish talking about Guyton. No. I got bad things to say about Chuma. I'm gonna wait.
I mean, listen, you don't kick a man when he's down. You wanted to make sure that we get to this point that Tyler can move forward. I think this is a great step forward. The last couple of practices, he's been in there with the ones doing his thing. And I think honestly, this was the direction that we knew would happen, because we don't think Solari was going to give us 2 rookies this year in the O-line. I think he was already in love with Brock Hoffman. Shout out to Brock Hoffman, Hokie. But I think Brock Hoffman was going to be his center no matter what. And we were going to move Cooper Beebe along slowly and steadily. I think that was always going to be the move. I know you don't. I know
would
you
agree with you. I would agree with you, but I think that the battle is already over between Chuma and Guyton.
I don't think it was ever even a battle. I think it was just I think it was always to the point. He's a first rounder. Yep. We've had great success dropping first rounders in, boom, and getting after it.
Sure.
They only tried to play that game with Tyler Smith his rookie year for the most part, when he was fighting out with Connor McGovern for that left guard spot, when we saw wholeheartedly that Tyler Smith was better. And if Solari would have had his way, he would have probably started the season with Connor McGovern. Shout out to to the soon-to-be Hall of Famer when he decided to leave his career. Tyron Smith ripping his muscles smooth off his bone. Then he had to go and play him. But the rest is history. We always knew Tyler would be a better left guard. He would be a serviceable left tackle, but he would be what he is. Top of the food chain, all pro left guard at left right there. So he's a left guard. He's an all pro. We're not moving him. And we're going to take the bumps and the bruises with Tyler Guyton so that he can have a serviceable career. I don't want to put him on this lofty pedestal that he's going to be the next Tyron Smith, because that doesn't happen.
No, that's an unfair comparison.
That's an unfair comparison, and you just want to continue him get better and better. But Duke Manyweather is probably one of the best offseason O-line gurus the world has seen, and his work year after year after year, especially what we see with the Dallas Cowboys, is unmatched. So Tyler Guyton's moving in the right direction.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, for every great rep that Tyler Guyton had against Micah, Chuma Edoga had one as well. Chuma had 2 reps in front of Micah, and both of them were catastrophic, Chris. Both of them would have been ridiculous sacks. I'm not going to lie to you. It would have been quarterback would have been a stain on the ground. Okay. So just as I was saying, man, that battle's over. Right. Okay.
Okay.
But I will say this. You mentioned Cooper Beebe. I think that Cooper had, great reps.
Before you go to Cooper Beebe, so if you said as bad as Chuma. You saw Tyler was amazing.
Yes.
Chuma Adoga was absolutely god awful. Assam
Mm-hmm.
Richards showed that he's working in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So that answers another question we all had. That God forbid, because you said how bad Chuma Adoga looked against Micah.
Yes.
I need Assam Richards to be moving towards that swing tackle guy that I need, because I need depth across my offensive line. You follow me?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So I saw a little work from Assam Richards. He looked good. He looked solid. He looked strong. Good hand placement. Now he's working against Marshawn Nealon, which Marston has not learned half a man. He's more just run straight down the middle of you. And so I think that was more advantage to Assam Richards, but he wasn't a turnstile. He wasn't, he wasn't
absolutely
a swing,
not. Absolutely.
he wasn't a screen door. He, he held his ground. He looked good. So I love the progression of Assam Richards right now.
Now, one thing I can say is, it is impressive that guys are able to stand up against Micah, because not only did Micah make Chuma look silly, Micah did have one great rep against Terrence Steele, where he backed him all the way down. But when you got debatably the best edge rusher / linebacker in the league, he's prone to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said with the Zeke situation, everybody looks slow against Micah.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it is that's why I'm giving Guyton so much praise, because everybody else that Michael went against didn't look so great.
I got you.
Now back to Cooper Beebe. Cooper was snapping the ball today, in gun formation. Well, just as a trainer, not in teams, really. And one of his snaps did go low. So I think that while he's going to continue to work on his snapping, his ability to go from snap to hands in the correct place and being able to move men, I think is already where it needs to be. But I think he has to work on his snap, because the one snapping gun that I did see, it was low.
Okay.
Probably right around the quarterback's shin.
Okay. I mean, listen, the man couldn't be perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But his hand placement was very good. His hand placement was very good. Got it right in the breastplate, to be able to maneuver people where he wants them to go instead of where they want them to go.
That was never a question when it came to Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe was going to come in, be incredibly strong, be incredibly talented and gifted, and we knew, putting hands on people was his forte. His biggest thing that he was going to have to work on was, as we said, was snapping the ball. So, we understand that that's his only flaw as of right now. So now it's just going to take him getting better and better, feeling more comfortable, and knowing what he needs to do across the board before we feel like he may overtake Trevor Hoffman. But Trevor Hoffman, baseball player, Brock Hoffman. Before he took over Brock Hoffman, where he's at in the rotation. But it's great the fact of the matter that he's progressing. That's what you care about. So he's going to get he's going to get the rest of his time, these practices. We're going to see how he progresses during the rest of camp and the in-team practices. And we'll see how it goes. But I didn't expect anything less from Brock Hoffman. I knew he was going to come in and go and be able to block whomever he got in front of him. My problem is that that's a great catch. How he blocks.
My mic was dropping. My mic stand went off. So give me a second. I'm gonna mute.
No problem. But I think the thing that we were more worried about more than anything else was, if he could block well, how is he going to block against the guys across from him? How is he going to look against Mozzie? How he was going to look against Osa? How he was going to look against, the different guys we had over there, Carl Davises and things of that nature. And he didn't have a problem with that. The one thing I did when you saw the one, and I don't know if you have the clip of Rico running the football.
Yes, I do.
Rico got out of there clean. and that's something you didn't see a lot of last year at all. For the running
man.
yeah.
And that's kind of where I was talking about that. Rico showed good speed and burst, so I think that he's just going to be able to continue that, and his line definitely created holes for him. So give me a second while I'm pulling this up. I think that as it stands right now. Oh, and I think was TJ Bass the center on that rep with Rico? If so, I can't remember. But I got some things about TJ Bass as well.
That was going to be one of the things we liked about TJ Bass anyway. TJ Bass had the versatility to be a backup center, but we also know he can play.
Yeah, sure.
He can play guard, so that showed you, his ability to be able to have the flexibility. Backup center, we know he can play guard well as Cooper gets more acclimated with that. But the biggest issue I had with, that's the one with Rico. Yeah, and if you back it up, Rico got out of there clean.
Now absolutely. Well, watch the hole right here at B gap, and then he sees it, and he gets his way.
Yeah. Nobody's touching him 5 to 7 yards down the field, and that goes back to what we were worried about with the defensive line. How well those guys are going to be able to stand up. How well the Osis was going to be able to stand up. How well Mozzie was going to be able to stand up. Because of lack of depth there, that was a problem. Like you said, B, we're going to need some defense. We're going to need it. That's going to be a must. But like I said, just the lack of the Joneses making the decision of getting competent backup in the 1 and the 3 technique slots, and then just throwing all that out on Mozzie to become, world, extra, just over the top great in one season, probably wasn't the best move.
Now, one thing I can say, since you did mention Mozzie, I do kind of want to pivot to him. Mozzie he walked TJ Bass back in back-to-back reps. On a simple bull rush.
Right.
And I think it's just one of those ones where he wouldn't have done this last year. And in the rep that I did watch, I think that Mozzie has to work on his footwork more, because he was getting all of his power from his left foot, and his right foot was in midair, like whenever he got stopped. So he has to work on keeping those feet planted and going from his core so that he can get more power. But I think that's something that can be coached up, because if we were able to see it, I'm sure that the coaches saw it, and they're going to want to coach that out of him.
They've been steadily working and talking to him about that. Brian Broaddus had reported that earlier this week. That they do a lot of teaching of keeping both feet, keeping them from being a one-legged player, as Brian would say. And so that's going to be huge for him to stay sound and true to his technique of not being a one-legged player, moving in the direction of being consistent with his technique. But being a big, strong man is something that Mozzie has always been. And it's just good to see him mentally getting back to that point, as well as physically doing the things as a one tech that we need him to do. We definitely need him to do that. I go ahead.
Now, Mozzie did get stopped in his tracks against Tyler Smith, but that's one of those things where he's up against the All-Pro, and he's still a young child.
As Micah makes most offensive linemen look bad, Tyler Smith makes most defensive linemen look, like mere children. So I'm not gonna beat Mozzie Smith up because he didn't beat an apex predator. He went up against an apex predator and he lost. It happens. But as long as he's moving in the right direction to get better, I'm all for that. Now if he's out there whipping Mozzie, we probably up here doing the kid and play, kick step dance. But we're not expecting to see that on a regular basis.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we did talk about Marshawn Kneeland and his situation with needing more reps, right?
Absolutely.
He fought a lot against Tyler Smith today, and he did beat him on what would have been a tackle for loss on a run play. It kind of looked like a breakdown in assignment, but once Tyler turned around and tried to get his hands on him, it was already too late. So you can see a situation where absolutely that can happen in the game. Assignments break down all the time. So that's definitely a positive because, like I said, Tyler Smith is our best offensive lineman. He makes men look like children a lot of times.
Absolutely. Okay. So and that's all you want. You just want to see steady progression from
Yeah.
Marshawn and him having the ability to not just be, as they say, a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
If somebody's kicking with us at 9:55 at night, they know definitely him learning a few more techniques, working half a man, hand placement, pit drag, pull, drag, different things of that nature that helps him to get effective around guys like that. But him
Yeah.
having a chance to say, I want a rep against Tyler Smith is a great boost for him. They're going to get it on tape, see where he needs to get better at it, and just keep building. Great
Yeah.
by him. Just wanted to
Absolutely,
build, keep him healthy, and get him to the season.
Yeah. So moving back a little bit, man. With another guy that's returning from injury. DeMarvion Overshown is fast, Chris. He is fast. I'm talking about the speed is blinding. If I could find this rep, he broke through, on a blitz and came in at light speed in what would have been a tackle for loss if this was a live game. So, with guys who are returning from injury, it's really encouraging to see them come back, at a decently fast pace.
That was the one big thing Overshown could do without question. He could run. And to see him back to looking like his normal self running, he took full advantage of the weight room during his downtime. His body, he's transformed his body. He's got his speed. He's showing bursts of his quickness and his explosiveness that he came into the season last year that had us all a buzz about him last year. So
absolutely,
that's great to see.
And I'll go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. Immediately in the backfield. That would have been a tackle for loss if this was a live game.
Yeah. And that's what you want.
I'm not sure who the running back was. Honestly, I can't tell you. No, that's Zeke. That's Zeke. Never mind. That's Zeke. We know who that is.
Hey man, don't. Listen, man. This is a family show. You can't slander that man like that. Overshown is showing, glimpses of what we were hoping he was going to be last year. So that's a great move for him. But the thing that you also want to see that he's getting there clean. So that means that the D line is progressing and doing the different things that they need to do to get him clean and keep him clean. And that's going to be the key to this football team this year. Our linebacker play is going to be, kind of like what it hasn't been in years past. An absolute strength, for our team.
Now, one thing that I can say, and I'm really confused about this, and I saw this on a lot of clips today. Why was Nahshon Wright running with the ones for so much? And it seems like quite a few of the passing plays. It was one against what is the guy's name? Tyron Billy Johnson. He had one on 4th and 5 against him. Jalen Brooks had a diving catch against him. So it's one of those situations where I'm wondering, why is this guy out there? But then in the same breath, right, I could say that Nahshon Wright recorded 2 pass breakups and almost had an interception today. So he is definitely one of those guys that's on the bubble because he was a draftee of an old philosophy.
The old cats. Listen, Nahshon Wright is fighting for his football life. Nahshon Wright was a questionable 3rd round pick. The guy that
definitely an overdraft. We can say it in hindsight. He was overdrafted.
Hey, listen, he was an overdraft, but we can say the guy that got drafted before him was an overdraft as well. But he's able to stay here, and he's going to go ahead and see. He's going to show you what he can be able to do. And under this new administration, we're going to see if he can play. And so, as you're trying to bring back Trayvon Diggs slowly, you want to keep young. You want to be able to, find out if he can be that 5th corner for you, and be a steady outside guy. Nobody's trying to push him inside. We know he can't move and function on the inside. So we got to find out, can he be our 3rd or 4th guy on the outside?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna alternate between him and Kalen Carson, or I forget the cat that we drafted last year. Drafts
Oh
come and
yeah.
go.
Oh no 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 no
Um,
no 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 no. Eric Scott was your dude
Eric
last
Scott, there
year.
we go.
Don't
Because he was
don't
good in
don't
camp. He was a
hey,
camp
hey,
darling.
don't throw
He
that
was a
baby out.
camp
Don't
darling. But
you
I
throwing
just
that
his
baby out with the
name went
water.
past me.
Oh
His
oh oh it went
name
past you.
escaped me.
Oh it escaped you. Because you
Yeah.
was tweeting him every chance you got to me last year.
Hey man.
Eric Scott, man.
Hey man. He was good. He was good in camp.
Well, okay. Well, I think Nahshon Wright is just trying to, hey man, he's just trying to stay gainfully employed.
Yeah.
He's trying to get to that solid third year, get vetted in the league, and let's see what he can do. Zim is a DB whisperer, so
Absolutely,
let's see if he can make it work for him.
So that brings up this point, Chris. We haven't really, well, I can kind of say we have, because we've had Al Harris here. We haven't had a DC that can truly teach these defensive backs and nurture their abilities, because Nahshon was a very raw player when he was drafted. He was drafted with the philosophy that he's big and he got a little speed to him. But that was the draft of size.
It was the big, long, make windows, tougher to throw through and things of that nature. Absolutely. But we haven't had a DC that would come in here and truly educate these guys. Like I'll use Israel Mukwamu as well, because he was a draftee in that same class. We haven't had a guy that can come in here and nurture their abilities. Now, granted, Al Harris is amazing. Al Harris is going to end up being a DC in one of these teams. But looking for somebody who can truly nurture a defensive back like Mike Zimmer, I think that everyone may be able to take a step forward. But man, look, some guys gonna have to fall off of the bridge. I mean, you can't keep everybody. So
yeah, absolutely.
You can't keep everybody. So you just got to keep stacking days. That's the one thing about camp. You got to come in and keep stacking days. But you're part of the old philosophy, like you said before.
Yeah.
So all we can ask Nahshon to do,
he doesn't have a sponsor anymore. Coaches will be more than likely to keep their guys. Nahshon, Israel, there are a few of those guys. They don't have a sponsor anymore, so they got to do everything to get it themselves out the mud.
I mean, and all that stuff sounds cliche, but it's true. But I just think because you don't have a lot of depth. We just talked about the top 4 guys earlier. One of my guys is coming off major surgery, so I need a 4th and a 5th corner. So it's going to be up to a Nahshon Wright, a Eric Scott, or somebody to be able to do that, because I think my draft pick and Deron Bland and Jordan Lewis are mainstays.
Yeah,
if so this is his chance to shine. And the crazy part about it is that the guys they're working against aren't upper tier players, but they've been effective. The thing about it, 4 makes everybody look amazing.
Sure.
4 makes everyone look like they belong in this league.
Sure.
And 4 has the ability to get people paid. So, but they're battling right now. So, hey, man, hats off, man, to Nahshon, man. Keep stacking days. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. And somebody who definitely had a day to stack on today was Wanye Thomas.
Hey.
He came in and he jumped the route so perfectly and got an interception today and was able to get great return yards on it. I was one of those guys who was saying that Wanye is definitely gonna be one of the better safeties on the group. We were doing the show with John. Shout out John. He said that he's probably the best safety overall.
No, John said he was one of the best defensive backs on the team. So he said he's one of the best one of the best guys in the secondary, and he showed it today, man.
Improving right,
He definitely showed it, man. Right. Showed his range, showed his quickness, showed his ability. His smarts and his ability. And hey, man, that's a great thing you want to be able to see. Wanye doing his things, man, and so it's a great sighting, and it gives you the ability to put some other guys kind of in different spots. Can he battle for that free spot? With Malik Hooker, so that we can keep a couple other guys as strong that we want to keep. Everyone loves Dono. Everybody loves. Oh my gosh. the linebacker safety, FAMU, doggone it.
Marquise Bell.
There you go. Everybody loves Marquise Bell. So Dono and Bell is your strong, and if Wanye can flip back and forth, it gives you some depth, gives you some leverage. So I love it.
Absolutely, man. And I just think that the safety room is already one of those ones that could be like a sneaky need, especially like at the strong, because you don't know what you're gonna have yet.
I don't think strong is my issue. I think free is my issue more than anything.
I trust Wanye, if we're gonna be honest. I trust Wanye, and here's his interception today. Jumped the route perfectly. But I believe that between Wanye and maybe Malik Hooker, I think that you're good at free.
Of course, yeah.
I'd be interested.
Go ahead. Be interested. What would you be interested in? No, what would you be interested in?
I'd still be interested. I would still be interested in giving Justin Simmons a call.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that goes back to my progress stopper thing. If I can get Malik Hooker to give me a third year of being healthy and doing Malik Hooker things, and in a different scheme where he's playing that too high, and giving help over the top to my corners. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. But I'm gonna also transition to the fact that I got young Wanye, that next year he's gonna be my guy. Mm-hmm. So you follow me? Another year watching the pro and Malik Hooker, and then it's a kind of changing of the guard. He's here. I'm gonna draft another guy, and we're gonna walk. We're gonna go in that direction. I just don't think the Cowboys are they haven't been lately in the last few years. And see, that's not even a true statement. I'm gonna take that back. What they showed us last year by going to get a veteran and bringing them in, they're not doing that 2 years in a row. They switch up the recipe every time. That's why going to their first round is always hit or miss, because they changed the recipe right before our eyes so many different times.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I did notice, and this is on the offensive side of the ball. Why was Tyron Billy Johnson on the field so much? And this was with the ones as well as the twos. For he had a good rep on 4th and 5 where he would have gotten the first down. Showed good change of direction and things like that. But if I'm being honest, I want to avoid another Dennis Houston versus Tampa Bay situation.
Listen, as long as your number one is walking around here, not coming to practice, not in Oxnard, you want to find out, can you find another hidden gem? I think your Jalen's or at least two of your Jalen's are showing you that they're ready to take on that wide receiver 3 type position. And so,
I think that all 3 of them have their moments. Moreno Cropper had a good catch because Trey Lance got 2 reps with the ones today. And he had a 6-yard run on the first rep. And then in the second rep, he had a sideline catch. A toe drag sideline catch to Moreno Cropper. So I think that Moreno Cropper got reps with the ones just like Brooks and Tolbert. I didn't really see any of Tolbert today, but I did see some of Brooks. But yeah, Moreno Cropper isn't to be counted out yet.
Right. So all I'm saying is he's not none of those guys are to be counted out yet. The thing about this thing looks just totally different until you get 88 back in the building. You get 88 back in the building, you can unlock some different things for some other people. You're gonna shift some coverage in some different ways. And I don't think they're trying to walk Dennis Houston or take the bag of misfit toy wide receivers into Cleveland. So I think as things go forward, we'll get this thing with CD banged out, squared away, and move forward.
Yeah, man. Now who I didn't see is I haven't seen Brandon Cooks.
Oh, I have. I've seen Brandon Cooks. I've seen clips of Brandon Cooks, doing Brandon Cooks things, stretching the field, being those guys. But there's fewer questions about Brandon Cooks. We already know Brandon Cooks is sliding in as wide receiver 2. We're
Mm-hmm.
looking at what the battle for wide receiver 3 and 4 is, because we know we're going to need over the season 35, maybe 40, 35 to 40 catches from wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're gonna need the Cedric Wilson type season, type of stuff to happen. You
Yeah.
know, and so over a 17-game season, that's a lot of catches for a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Or even from that depth of wide receiver, that number
Yeah,
3, that number 4, number 5 guy. That's a lot. That's a lot of work for those guys.
Mm-hmm. I get it, man. I get it. Looking at the tight ends, I think that Peyton Hendershot had a pretty good day today. He did miss what was honestly a high ball from Cooper Rush, but besides that, I think Peyton Hendershot had a decent day. You know, because I think that the fight for tight end 2 is wide open. Didn't see any of John Stevens Jr. today, but who I did see was Brevin Spanford. There was a running play, and Spanford had to, engage in a block. Had some really great reps blocking today. He beat the edge rusher back 4 yards before there was any resistance. And I think that while it's not really a sexy rep, it's one of those things that he provides to a tight end room, especially in an offense that could be suffering in the run game.
I mean, you want Spanford. That was the biggest thing coming in. We knew he could block, and we wanted to see him block effectively and be that that force in that area. I haven't seen much tape on John Stevens.
No, I haven't seen him at all. In pass, it was just first game pass. But I haven't seen him.
But also the problem is if I saw a Spanford, I didn't see Schoonmaker. And that's my problem. If a guy can come in and be that guy that takes away those blocking reps, it kind of gives my room the vibe that we already had talked about before, with Ferguson being number 1, John Stevens coming off injury, working back into who he is. But my second tight end, my blocking tight end, that guy, I need Schoonmaker to be that guy, as well as becoming a threat in the pass game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally get it. And I also have it on very good authority that, and this is kind of why, to kind of preface this. This is why I'm actually happy that Hendershot had his good day today. I got it on good authority that with the Schoonmaker pick, Hendershot, had a bit of a attitude all throughout the season. Kind of like even though this is a different situation, it was who was the quarterback that said that my job isn't to teach someone? Was that Joe Flacco?
It's been many a quarterback that's turned around and said, if this guy comes in,
Joe came out and said it. Joe came out and said it. It was Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. That was kind of one of those situations last year when Schoon was drafted. Peyton Hendershot did not take that draft pick well. And he basically resigned himself that whatever, I'm about to be out of here. So it's good to see him be able to have and stack good days.
You wanted him to be able to do that, because when he was looking at Schoonmaker being the guy that was going to get him out of here, it really wasn't. It was John.
Isn't that bad? Isn't that bad?
You looking to the left, but it's the right hand that sends you home, and that's what's going to end up happening. So he's just trying to do the things he needs to do to get better, but we just got to keep seeing guys stack days.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That was really like a synopsis of all of the snaps that I watched. Brandon Aubrey did have a very good day kicking. Made 8 of his 9 kick attempts. So absolutely,
right. He's all pro.
But yeah, man, that was. I watched a bit of film today, just from practice, and that was everything that I had, man. Anything that you may have saw, throughout your day?
No, man. The few clips that I did see and that I was paying attention to and just listening to a lot of people's commentary, man, about what they saw, from the John Machotas and everybody else. It was a good day in pads. The biggest thing,
Yeah.
man, you basically trying to do, man, is have productive days, stay off the ground, and get
Yeah.
out of this thing healthy. That's the
Yeah,
only thing that
absolutely.
we want, and that's all I'm caring about. So, like we said before, with Sam Williams, nothing but prosperity to him, healing, healing, quickly and getting back to us. And whatever stomach virus Chuma has, hope he can keep his weight up. And yeah, just keep pushing those fluids, big guy. And that's all we really care about right now, man. We're an hour in, man.
Absolutely. I think we made the timing perfect.
Yeah, we made the timing perfect. But because we made the timing perfect, that means you got to like, share, subscribe, man. Drop a comment, man. Free currency puts us out in the airways, and we'll be dropping a little bit more. We'll be a little bit more consistent because we are inside of camp.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be an off day, so it's going to be a lot of retrospect about what has happened. But we'll be right back at you on Thursday when we get some more news, more clips, seeing what's going on, and just continue to walk through this process, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
man.
as always, if you really want to see more more conversation like this, like, comment, share, subscribe, just like Chris said. And Chris always refers to himself as Robin, but no, like I always say, for every Captain America, you need a Winter Soldier. So, until next time, I'm Brandon, that's Chris, and together we make up Franklin Football. Peace.